Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Rockaway Creates Connection podcast. Today's episode 6, and it's all about Rockaway creating movement. So our theme for this month is movement. Please meet our two amazing members and guests today, Christine Walker and Janet Redmond. Christine Walker is a massage therapist, yoga instructor, and breathwork guide, alternative and holistic health service, breath facilitator, licensed massage therapist, and certified yoga instructor. Christine is currently providing professional transformation breath, massage therapy, yoga, and personal training. Christine brings over 20 years of experience to offer individualized therapeutic interventions. She stays updated in her areas of expertise to support her clients' well-being and to help people manage physical pain, emotional stress, and promote a healthy perspective. She has helped and treated those with cancer, epilepsy, migraine headaches, arthritis, Guillain-Barre, Parkinson's, sleep disorders, diabetes, anxiety and depression, chronic autoimmune disorders, muscle pain, and sports injuries. Christine has provided therapeutic touch and support for fragile persons, pre and post surgery, and individuals in hospice. She has also enjoyed being with women during pregnancy through delivery. Christine has a deep respect and connection with nature, and you will likely find her looking to discover any excuse to travel and make her way into the forest or to visit rivers, lakes, or oceans to hike, bike, surf, stand-up paddleboard, or simply sit quietly. This has helped her gain a creative edge in her own personal practice through breath, movement, contemplation, and self-awareness. She encourages her clients and students to awaken their innate healing abilities by providing tools that are accessible, effective, and enjoyable. Something that Christine and Janet both have in common is a love of dogs.
As you can hear in the background, right?
Our second guest, or is going to be the first guest talking today, is Janet Redmond. She's a local real estate agent. She lives in Breezy and is an associate real estate broker. eXp Realty, covering the Rockaway Peninsula and beyond. If you're looking for a home on the Rockaway Peninsula, or specifically in Breezy Point, Rockaway Point, or Roxbury, New York, she is the place. Coming from a family of experienced and licensed real estate brokers in Breezy Point, Janet is committed to finding exceptional buyers for this community because she has chosen to raise her family here. Savvy negotiations and cutting-edge marketing strategies join uncompromising integrity as the hallmarks of Janet's service. Janet is exceptionally well respected in Breezy Point for her unparalleled professional track record and high ethical standards, as well as for being an honest, hardworking family woman who does everything in her power to ensure her clients' success and satisfaction. Janet Redmond Hogan is one of the only brokers in Breezy Point to also hold a New York State appraiser's license. So great to have you both here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'd love to start with you, Janet. I think this was a really cool way to have movement be part of the theme for this month, and by bringing you on, because it really is truly like you're moving into a new place.
Yes.
What do you love about our area and real estate?
I live in Rockaway now. I think that's old. I was born and raised in Breezy Point, but I live in Rockaway now. I love that I sell all over, but in something about Rockaway, Breezy Point, there's a sense of community. There's something about finding people a home here. People make friends here. They build relationships. So New York City in itself is special, but it's special here. I'm sure you all know that.
Yeah.
And moving can also bring a lot of stress for people. Is there any kind of like tips or resources that you share with your clients when they're moving to help them kind of keep an even keel? Janet?
Yeah, I can hear. I didn't hear. All I heard was help with moving, and then you dropped out. I'm sorry.
Just wondering if, stress moving, I've heard is like the, one of the number one stressful things that people can do.
Absolutely.
Sorry, my cat's
Yes.
getting in here. And, just
my dog will be here.
You provide people with like any checklist or resources on kind of how to maintain their calm and their cool as they're moving.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So I do have like checklists of the obvious stuff of, movers, and then if they need to do work on their house, contractors, electricians, things like that. But also some people will say, you're not just my agent, you're also my therapist, because I try and be there for my clients and just, listen to their stresses. And I've been there. I've moved a couple of times. And I know when you have to like pick up your life and go, and, there's a lot of things at play. Is, if you're buying something, is the financing going to come through? If you're, moving a lot of furniture, is it all going to be safe? Moving kids to different schools, there's all kinds of things to be considered. So I try to be there, and I try to get to know everybody. And luckily, since I grew up here, I know a lot of people in the neighborhood that can help them and, with anything they need.
Awesome.
And I also feel this yellow hue from the smoke outside is making my skin look incredibly red, because I'm sitting in a bright room and it's so yellow, and my apartment's become filled with smoke from outside. So it's just an interesting day to have this for sure.
Yeah, I've been, because I am not in New York at the moment. And so
okay.
Yeah, so I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. And so I've been watching.
It's
and
wild.
Like, yeah, this is wild for me, and I'm so sorry that you all are having to deal with this right now, because it is just,
yeah. You know what? I mean, we're getting the lucky end of it, because if we were up in Canada, it would be way worse. But this is something spectacular going on, because it's just, it's just smoky and it's yellow, and I look like I'm completely sunburnt from this color that's coming in.
Yeah, last night the sun, as the sun was setting, was like completely bright orange.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is so pretty. But I was also thinking, like, there's something not right about this really bright orange. And just like hour by hour since then, it's gone continuous. I keep like closing my window like one more inch, and now it's almost to the bottom.
Yeah.
But it is getting worse here every minute by minute. But hopefully it'll clear up soon.
Yeah. It's been a little crazy. I was in Brooklyn before, and I'm showing an apartment that has normally this gorgeous view of the Verrazano Bridge from beginning to end. You couldn't see a thing. It was just smoke right in front of it. Like, it's just crazy time.
Yeah. So I want to know, with your business, because you have an apartment in Brooklyn, what areas do you service? Is it just the Rockaways, or are you?
I'm kind of a little bit all over. I do Brooklyn, because Brooklyn is kind of the closest, I feel like, besides, Broad Channel and Howard Beach right here. Queens, even though we're part of Queens geographically, it's, well, even geographically we're not, but Brooklyn is closer. So I do service a lot of Brooklyn. I go into Marine Park a lot, Bay Ridge, a lot of different neighborhoods in Brooklyn, Queens, and then a little bit of Long Island, just like the beginning of Nassau County. And anything else, I have relationships with other agents from all over, and I'll send it that way. But, I tell everybody that, like, you spend a lot of time in the car. I'm like, well, if you drive an hour to work to go to the city, or if you take the ferry or the train, that's me sitting in my car. I just consider it commuting. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. I'll pack a lunch. I'm in my car, and my car is my office sometimes.
Yeah. I'm curious, are you noticing any trends on the type of people that are moving to Rockaway? Is it young people? Is it families, singles, young professionals?
I see a lot. In the past couple of years, I felt like I definitely saw a lot of young singles. But then I also see an influx of families coming in. And now, shockingly enough, I have a couple of retirees, coming in, where, a lot of people think that retirees move south, but they're moving here. They're moving to the beach. Like I'm seeing a different kind of clientele. So that's been interesting. But it's Rockaway, one of the great things, also, you know, definitely all types of people. And I love meeting people, talking to people. So it's great to see everybody coming in.
Yeah.
And the ferries definitely helped that a lot, I would say. Like,
yeah, definitely.
bringing in people that wouldn't have had the opportunity to come here or not explore here, but the ferry brings a lot of different people in.
Yeah. I want to know a little bit about, because I feel like, so moving also, you do it you do it just because you have to, but also sometimes it's because something really amazing or important has happened in somebody's life. Are those like your favorite types of things to happen and like favorite types of clients to deal with? Or, do you get a lot of cases of that, of like, oh, somebody got married and so they're looking for a house, or they're having a baby and they're looking for a house, or, they're expanding their family, or their parents are moving in and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty exciting because I get a lot of people that I started out, I sold them their first apartment as a single, and then they get married and I sold them something else. Now we're having a baby. Now I got to go bigger, so it's, watch the progression of their life too, which is, kind of interesting, helping them out every step of the way. And, and I've been with them every step of the way with everything that they've done. And I love that.
Yeah, those life transitions. I know
Mm-hmm.
there's a friend of mine's looking for a new place in Rockaway, and she has a big dog. Do you find that there's a lot of dog-friendly buildings and places in Rockaway?
I see more so here than I do in other places, but you'll see things, weight restrictions, breed restrictions, unfortunately. It's always a different challenge when, animals are brought into the picture. And as you can tell, my dog was barking a few minutes ago. I'm an animal lover. I don't care what kind of animal it is, but a lot of the co-op buildings, some of them do have restrictions on, different types of animals, or how big or how small they, not how small, but how big they can be. But more so, I see that a lot more in Brooklyn than I do here. I see a lot more pet-friendly buildings here. I just feel like, we have the boardwalk, we have the beach, we have more resources for animals. There could be more, but, we have a lot more than some other neighborhoods.
Yeah. And when someone is looking for a place, what are the things that they should be watching out for? What are the things that are important that most people like, oh, they're just worried about like how the place looks, or, like what else should we be looking out for?
Location. I tell everybody you can change anything about a place except its location. You can, change your interiors, you can change your kitchen. Oh, wait, I lost you guys. There you are. But I think location is the most important. And also, how do you live your life? What do you do? Where do you work? How are you getting to work? Because you want to be, in close proximity to the subway, the express bus, the ferry, something. Parking. Do you own a car? A lot of the buildings have wait lists for parking. And we all know summer parking in Rockaway can be challenging. But, stick with one of your local realtors, because we always know somebody renting a spot usually. So, those are definitely a couple of things that, but, like you said, like the obvious ones, like, how much space do I need? Stuff like that. But I try to, narrow in on location. Like, I don't want to put you so far away if you need to get to, the subway or something like that. You know what I mean? Because while it's warm now, we could be looking for something and it's warm weather. It does get cold here. So you are going to have to find a way to, how to get to wherever you're working.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hi, Jane.
We're getting some hearts.
Yeah. So what, I want to know, what is your favorite thing about living in Rockaway?
The beach, the boardwalk, the ferry now. I mean, I keep talking about the ferry, but honestly, we use it as just a form of transportation, getting back and forth to the city, getting back and forth to work. Even if I'm showing something in Brooklyn, I can hop on the ferry. I could use it as, my commuter thing. The restaurants, the people, I was born and raised here, but I can go out all the time and just meet different people. It's like, you've been here that long too. And, it's just amazing. And it's like I said before about community, everybody talks to each other, for the most part, everybody's very friendly and open and,
I love the
stuff
ferry
like that.
too. I take it all the time. I'm super happy that the ferry's here. I'm wondering, what are some of your favorite hangout spots in Rockaway?
In Rockaway?
Yeah.
Well, I go to Broad Channel a lot. I do own a boat, so I go to Broad Channel a lot. That's where we keep our boat. Yeah, we go over
That's
to the
cool.
hotel a lot. Yeah. I take the dog up to the boardwalk a lot. I do make my way down to Breezy, hang out around there. My kids, are all over the place, so I got to track them down and find out where they're hanging out. So that's mostly where I'm hanging out.
Yeah. And how was it growing up in Rockaway and also having your kids grow up in Rockaway?
I think it's completely different from when I grew up. Because when I grew up, I feel like, especially growing up in Breezy, it was mostly a summer community. And here too, there wasn't a lot of us that were here all year round. We'd have like an influx of, summer people, summer kids that we'd hang out with. So I feel like, while I did have sports and friends and things like that I did, it's not, I don't know, there's a lot more people here now than there was then. So I definitely see, a big difference. And Breezy Point, there was a small handful of us that were there all year round. So it's completely different because now it's become much more of an all year round community.
Yeah. What are the biggest changes that has happened over the years in Rockaway, and what are you most excited about?
I guess more, more people, more things happening, more restaurants opening, more things to do. I feel like as a kid growing up, there's nothing to do. We did have a movie theater back then. We don't have one now, but I just feel like there's more of, getting people together and camaraderie and things that we never had where, there's music on the boardwalk. There's, different events going on. I don't remember that ever growing up. I'm pretty sure we really didn't have that,
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, Janet, if people want to get in touch with you, but what's the best way for them to do that?
I'm all over social media. I'm on social media, my phone, I, text, email, find me around. I'm here. I mean, I can, provide my contact information. You guys have it, but I don't know how anybody else could get it. But, Janet Redmond Real Estate is my biggest Instagram page. I do have a few. One is for the dog. Mako the Amazing Frenchie, if anybody wants to see it.
I mean, I don't want to meet the dog, not for nothing.
I do follow your dog.
Do you? I'm like, I want to follow a dog. That's like my favorite, following animals, because I just find it.
I love animals. I think I definitely talk to as many animals as I do people around here. Sometimes I say hi to the dogs first. But my kids just got home from school, so they quickly picked up the dog and took it away because they missed her all day.
Yeah, I know all the dogs on my morning walk. I don't necessarily know the people's names.
Exactly.
I just know them in association with the dog.
I totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, like we said in the beginning, something you two have in common is your love for dogs. I know Christine's dog lives, I don't know if bi-coastal is even the right word, but internationally.
International. Yes. And he's ancient. He's really he's 16 now, so he's really getting old. And what used to take us 10 minutes to get to the beach is now 20. So it's just, watching him, change.
Yeah, I love that your dog is so well traveled. So where?
He's from Costa Rica. He's a Costa Rican.
Wow.
National. We used to get, when he was little, we used to get people stopping us on the street. Literally cars would stop and say, "What kind of dog is that?" And we'd say it's a Talle Peña, which means the we found him at a car repair shop. So that was the name of the car repair shop, was Talle Pena. So we called him a Talle Pena. And they were like, oh my God, we've never seen that breed before. And it's like, yeah, he's a mutt. So, he's a good looking mutt. And he still is in his old age.
Yeah. So, Christine, I would love to know a little bit more about what brought you to Rockaway and how long you've been here.
Actually, it's a story. So I was living in Brooklyn in Marine Park. And the first time I ever came to New York City I'm from Canada, was with a friend of mine from college. And we were staying on Coney Island, and her aunt had this really amazing place with, her husband was a violinist in the New York Philharmonic, and violins hanging everywhere. But we used to take the car, because she was pet sitting, talk about dogs and cats and birds. We would pet sit and had access to the car, and we would come down to Rockaway Beach. And I was always like, oh my God, this is like spectacular. So ended up that during one of that first trip, I met my husband, who was a fireman, and I met him on Great Jones Street in Lower Manhattan. And to make a long story short, came here and used to come to Rockaway to visit some friends that he had from the firehouse, and always loved Rockaway. And then after I got separated, I moved to Rockaway because I really just loved it. And I had a massage client, who said, you got to move to Rockaway. It's a great place. And I always loved it. And I was afraid of the ocean. I was really frightened to go in the ocean. It was just this ominous, dark, black place with, couldn't see the bottom. So when I moved here, I would massage all day long. I was so busy. And I would come home and I would go to Reese Park because I liked the lifeguard there, and I liked that it was quiet and I could trust him. So I would go in the water and get over my fear. So I just kind of allowed myself to go in the water and just tread and just be like, talk about breathing, and just like a lot of fear brings in. And if it was cold or, whatever temperature it was, or if there was just, waves, something was happening naturally, that would always send me to a new place. So I would have this situation where maybe going and it's cold and I'm treading water, but it was just about me opening up and moving through the liquid and getting over the fear of the ocean. So I did that often. So that was my therapy coming here. I didn't really know anybody. And so that's what I did. I just kind of went down there for the ocean for therapy and to find myself back to the ocean and liking it. So now liking it. And then I eventually moved to Long Beach. I was there for like 5-8 years, something like that. And then I met my, excuse me, I have a cough from this smoke. I met Robert, who lives here. He's a chief lifeguard here. Anyway, he got me back here to Rockaway from Long Beach. So I've been here for forever. I've just never left. And it's been one of those things where, you continue to experience the changes. And as Janet was saying, it's definitely changed. I've watched it. I can't say I always like the changes because, sometimes it's just too many people and I get, more traffic. But for the most part, it's just one of those things where you grow with it. So it's one of those, love-hate relationships, especially in the winter. It gets so cold and windy here. Sometimes you've got to that's another thing. You just got to button up and buckle down and, get your spine relaxed and move through the cold, and it makes you a stronger person. So Rockaway does that. It's one of those places, but I don't know. I'm kind of veering off. I don't even remember the question now. How did you get to Rockaway?
I love doing these. I've known Christine ever since I've been in Rockaway, but I didn't know your path to getting here. I didn't know about all these different neighborhoods you've been in and about your fear of the ocean. I mean, you could fool me. Like, I've seen you jump in the ocean after a yin class on the beach, like no problem. So that's really inspiring.
Yeah, I highly recommend getting over fears. Actually, I got over a fear of horses here too. So I was really afraid of horses. They're just so big and, you know, they're huge animals. And I just was always like, ooh, not really afraid completely, but just nervous. So I went down to the Gateway National Park and I volunteered at the stables there for the Parks Department, the Parks Police. And I did that for a couple of years when I first moved here. Before I moved to Long Beach, I did that. That was another connection that I got. And I learned how to muck the stalls, like literally cleaning the stalls and cleaning hooves and brushing and just feeling, comfortable around this beautiful animal that always kind of was like, oof, it's a little bit, it's a little much. So I tend to try and do that, get over fear with, direct experiences. So, and sometimes they're, not easy. I've got my motorcycle, fear full of motorcycles. But I always loved being on the back of one. But I was always afraid to ride one because when I was a little kid, I kind of got out of control on one. And I didn't know, they didn't tell me how to stop it. So they didn't tell me where the brake was. So I'm like, how do I stop this? And I'm going around circles and there's a cliff. So I was freaking out as a kid. So I always remembered that. And then I just thought, you know what? I was coming to yoga here in Rockaway. Excuse me. And I met Robert and I was wearing a leather jacket. I remember he looked at me and said, is that a fashion statement or you really have a bike? And I thought, you know what, dude, I'm going to get a bike. Right. So I ended up getting over my fear of motorcycle riding and I took lessons and I bought a new bike and it was like, wow, okay, another fear under my belt. So that's what, movement does too, so I'm thinking about all the moves that I made, right? So Janet talking about being with people during their moves and helping them and supporting them through their moves. So that's kind of, how I did it was finding community, things to do that kept me motivated to change and make things happen. And also, just allow myself to find some growth within a community. So I have to call.
Yeah, moving through those fears.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I am such a fan of your strategy for getting past your fears, because that is definitely also a strategy of mine. Most people don't know this, but like the sharks are my favorite animal. Lots of people know that. But I was deathly afraid of sharks until like 2014. And the way that I got over that was going on a shark dive where I knew I was going to be surrounded by sharks with no cage. Like it was just going to be, me in the water with them, and it like what you did with horses, right? Like you just being next to them, being around them, interacting, and just seeing that like they don't want to hurt you, right? Like that's not what they're there for. They're just being themselves, doing their stuff, So I really, really love that.
Yeah, and that's what I found in this community were things to do to get over fear. So, and it continues today. So, just
do you still have a motorcycle?
I don't. I got rid of it. It was a death trap. Literally, it wasn't even my riding. It was people not seeing me and I actually had people trying to run me off the road in Far Rock, things like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So I've had some, I had literally, I don't know how many situations where I was like, I could have just been killed. I could have just been killed. I could have just been killed. And finally I just said, I'm done. And I had my thrill. I'm glad I did it. I'm happy. I had that experience, did some, treks upstate to some bike shows and things like that, up to Lake Placid. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Lots of fun, lots of speed, lots of danger. And then it's like, okay, been there, done that. Now what? and you find something else. Then who knows what I found? Probably surfing. So that was, going into that mode. And that's a great sport. Very difficult, but really something that's wonderful to get out into nature, which I love to do.
Yeah, and I want to know, does your breath work techniques, how have they assisted you on your journeys?
Well, I found the breath technique through a woman I was visiting in Florida, and I went to some, it was a little, what do you call those, market, like an outdoor market. And she was selling crystals and her own jewelry. And, I went up to her and she was just a beautiful personality. And I started talking to her and she said, look, I'm doing a course in transformational breath. Would you like a session? And I said, sure. When can we make it happen? Because I'm literally leaving in 2 days. She said, I'll come over tomorrow. So I took this session with transformational breath with this woman. She set up her mats and back jacks and, brought pillows and set it up. And I just had this profound experience where I was, found myself sweating, like literally profusely sweating. I'm kind of a private person. I don't really like, lots of noise, even though I am loud and, can't get boisterous, but in general, I wanted to be kind of private. So I found myself literally going into a place where I was screaming and I didn't care about the neighbors and I didn't care. I just let myself be free and loose and just feel. So that really brought me to think, wow, that was really profound. And we had set an intention before, which is really important. So you set an intention to clarify why you're breathing, what do you really want? And bring it to the forefront of the session was, I requested something and I came back to New York and I never had that negative feeling again. And if I did get it, it would be something that I would catch very quickly and I would be able to kind of squelch that emotion that brought me to a place where I wasn't feeling happy or I wasn't feeling that I was supporting myself through this mental, emotional turmoil. So it was just one of those things that brought me to a place of peace. So then I went back again a year later and they happened to have this offering where you could do it for free in a group setting. I thought, it's not going to be as powerful. I had one-on-one. It's just not going to be. Sure enough, there's group setting, hundreds of people in the room, and I'm, breathing. And I had this outrageous experience again. I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on? What is this? So I literally 5 years of trainings and volunteering at their events so that I could get more experience to just observe and be there and facilitate people going through their own traumas and dramas. And it was really an interesting journey. So it's something that you learn. Breath work is pretty amazing. I love how, my instructor, Judith Kravitz, she's kind of started this through her breath and she actually cleared herself of cancer through breath work. And she always said that breathing is better than talk therapy because you can get over something within one session and you don't have to ruminate over it over and over and over and over again, because that's what we tend to do. We want to have that fix when we already have it within us. We just don't sometimes recognize it. So the breath work really brings us to that place where we are recognizing, oh, all right, I am there, and allow it. So sometimes breath work, you realize how closed off you are, or how you don't want to be open, how you don't want to be healed and healthy. And I have a lot of that myself. I'm vulnerable right now, even right now with my lungs and, situations in my health. So I'm constantly in vulnerable mode. And it just brings me a little bit of peace sometimes to be able to sit down, relax, and go into the breath. So I'm just going to cough again. Yeah. Excuse me.
And how are you offering breathwork these days? I know I've seen you offer some group classes in the neighborhood in the past. Is it mainly one-on-one, or do you work with people on an ongoing basis?
Well, I do have return people for sure. I do like the one-on-ones. I think they're very powerful and they can be more intimate, and some people tend to feel safer. I'm also offering group classes, but I just, I don't know what it is. I just kind of step back from a lot of things and just taking time for myself and just, getting the whole picture, just kind of being the observer, the witness, and trying to become more in present rather than striving and trying to make things happen. So I'm just finding that now a little bit, and I'm sure I'll find it back to, get myself motivated to get out there and give more group classes right now. So basically it's just kind of word of mouth and coming to me. And if you have a couple people, like I've had people literally call me up, can you come over? And I've got 3 people together. Can we make it happen? And of course I'm available. So those are the special treatments, I'll call them, special effects. But the group sessions are really interesting, and it's amazing how we are connected, and it really does prove itself after the sessions. Usually people will have experiences and they are describing something else or something that someone else in that space has experienced exactly. So there is that component that it's the mystical, the miracle, that how does that happen? How does that web of life bring us into this vortex where we're feeling the same thing, or we're, and it's not everybody, but definitely there will be, pockets of people experiencing the same thing. So it's always good to open up and describe or express what you've gone through in a session. Journaling is good, things like that. And, during the session, we do movement, we do toning, so we bring in sacred sound movement, and just allowing yourself to be present with the breath. It's a very important tool within our landscape nowadays, just trying to get back to that breath and bring it back into the present. We're so used to making things happen, doing, and everything's great. Create. We have this right here. Rockaway creates. Yes, we want to create. So it's just one of those things that you can be really creative in your breath practice. And this is just what I do as one technique. There's so many ways of breathing, and there's the breath where you take it in, maybe a 2-stroke breath, and take another little sip, and then you exhale, and it just kind of takes care of the cortisol levels, the stress hormone that comes in. And you can just find little things, and a longer exhale. So many ways that you can come back to yourself within one breath. And I always say one connected breath really is and I'm sure you got some stressful times, and just somebody's, maybe a client is just, overwhelming or something. Just stopping and taking a breath, and doing that within the practice and scope of your your own practice of coming to wellness. Excuse me.
Yeah. And I'm curious, so the different modalities that you do, are they safe for everyone, including people with health conditions?
Modalities, yes. I'm going to say for breath, there is no contraindication. We breathe every day. We don't force anything. We just allow you to experiment, be open, and have an open mind. And what we're trying to do is open up the lungs and just find the capacity. Whether or not you have COPD or heart issues, we will probably have you up on an angle, maybe even sitting up completely, so that you're not feeling vulnerable laying on your back, because that gets you heavy and feeling not so comfortable. So there's ways that we can work around that. But there is no contraindication to breath work, as far as I know, except for there is one: collapsed lung. All right. So if you have a collapsed lung, you're probably on a breathing machine anyway. So literally anybody can breathe, because we do it every day. It's part of our nature. So it's really a wonderful way to come back to life. You know, we talk about bringing in joy on the inhale and just letting go and releasing, if you want to call it releasing, or just it's called transformational breath, transforming low form energies into higher states. And yeah, it's an interesting concept, and I'm glad that more people are doing it. It's everywhere now. So
Yeah.
What came first for you, yoga or breath work?
So massage first. I started massaging in '95. I went to Thailand and I had a Thai massage, and I was just like blown away. And came back and said, I need to go to school for massage. And I had been through so many jobs, like over and over. So I ended up sticking with it. I said, I'm going to make it happen, you know, very determined. And I did. I've been a massage therapist almost 30 years now. And then came yoga because I was going down to Costa Rica. And actually, you know what? I started yoga here in Rockaway with Anita Ruderman from the Hot Yoga Studio. And she was teaching Hatha out of the chiropractor's office. You know, it was just, and it was great. So I really got turned on to that. And then I just went down to Costa Rica, and I wasn't surfing at the time. There's nothing really to do. I liked yoga, and they had this really beautiful yoga space that was teacher training credited. So went down there for a month, took the month off, and went down there and got training. And I, once again, determined, because I was afraid to talk out loud. Like I really had so much fear of speaking to anyone in a group session, in a group scenario. So another fear I got over was disseminating information to groups of people. So that was, you know, back in 2001, 2000, something like that. And just continued to, you know, improve my craft down there, and Canada, doing some stuff up there. And then I came to the breath work like about, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. So that was just the next step for me, was just kind of, you know, improving my game. And just, it was mostly for me, you know, I'm not going to lie. It was, you know, based on me helping myself. And once you help yourself, you feel more content and able to attract others to come and experience what you've experienced with joy, and expose them to possibility.
Wow.
So I'd like to know a little bit about your life in Rockaway. What does a day in your life look like?
Well, today it's not going out, but usually it's getting out somehow. You know, bike riding. I love to bike ride. I've got a knee issue right now, so I used to walk the dog all the time on the beach. That hasn't really been happening. So just kind of like, you know, lately just shaking and moving. I do leave Rockaway to go to Brooklyn to teach, give massages in Long Island, things like that. So I am in and out of Rockaway, driving through, and you know, just seeing all the changes. So there's so many changes within Rockaway right now. Buildings going up, and, you know, high rises. I can't even believe what's happening. And but anyway, that's I'm kind of low key lately. Just like I said, I kind of step back a little bit, and just kind of, I go out alone a lot. So I'm just have friends, certainly lots of friends. That's what I love about Rockaway, is I can walk down the street. My sister just visited. I went out to Canada at Easter, and she came back down with me, and we'd walk down the street, and people were like, "Hey, Christine, how you doing?" Like all over the place. She's like, "Oh my goodness, like everybody knows you." So it's really fun to have that. But then there's still so many other people that you don't know. But there's so many ways that you can get involved, you know, whether it's church, or, you know, if you want to go find, like Janet was saying, music on the boardwalk. There's so many ways you can meet people here. It's just a plethora of activity, especially in the summertime. So there's lots to do. Yoga studios, plenty of things to keep you active and moving, and finding that life within yourself.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us today. Christine, if people want to get in touch with you to schedule some breath work or a massage, what's the best way?
You know what? I'm a texter. So telephone, texting. I'm not big into email. I really am not lately into the postings and on Instagram. And it's really kind of, I struggle with that. So yeah, phone 516-503-4249. You can find that on beingwithchristine.com. Just give me a text or a shout, direct phone. That's the easiest way.
Awesome. You both said phone. You both said phone. So all right, we'll call you.
Who doesn't love their phone?
Anytime. We're old school girls, And it's to me, it's more personal. It's just, give me a call and let's talk, or at least make an appointment through your texting to have that connection to talk.
Yeah, I do it through phone too a lot, and some of my clients / coaches have been like, what about your boundaries? Like, you just let people text you at all times? And I'm like, yeah, I have do not disturb, and I put it on when I'm not wanting to hear it.
Yep.
Exactly. I love that. Do not disturb. Exactly. I actually want it tattooed on my forehead. On all levels.
That's great.
Levels.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Like, just
isn't that great? I didn't steal that from anybody. That came from my own crazy mind.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I want DNR on my chest. Do not resuscitate.
You sound like my mother with that.
Yeah,
like,
probably.
She's like, yeah, I do not try. Like, I'm done when I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, it's not the truth. I mean, if there's life still left in me, bring me back. But it better be good. You better not be bringing me back to hell. So.
Beautiful. Well, I hope to see you both around Rockaway this summer and on the boardwalk and riding bikes and.
Yeah. Galit, I am going to Arizona in 2 weeks. I'm landing in Phoenix actually, but I'm going to Sedona. I'm going to be assisting as a breath facilitator for this gentleman, Greg Braden. I don't know if you've heard of him. Anyway, you can look him up. He's going to be there in Sedona. And I'm going to be assisting with the breath facilitating. It's going to be over 300 people there, I think. So it should be a nice group. So
let me know, because actually it's funny that you say in 2 weeks, because my mother-in-law is coming here in 2 weeks, and we were literally just talking about going up north when she comes to Sedona or Flagstaff or something to like get out of Phoenix for a little bit.
Oh, it's incredible. The area is outrageous.
Wow.
I highly recommend Sedona, Flagstaff. Oh, Jerome is a fun town to go to for like even a couple of hours for lunch. You have the best kaleidoscope store ever.
So it's funny. You actually told me about Jerome, and I went and visited it.
Oh, you did?
And I loved it.
Good.
Yeah, really
loved
cute.
It, right?
Yeah. So it was funny because I went. I visited it at night, which makes it like very spooky, and they have like these ghost tours and stuff. So it fit with the whole like spooky Jerome theme.
Did you go to that place where you can throw pennies into toilets? Like they have a fence, and they had this lot that was empty. So Janet, you'll appreciate this. This lot was like literally a building taken away, and it was like sunk down into the what's that called? The base of the house.
The foundation?
Thank you. Foundation. See, Janet
coming in for the save.
And it's like, what are we going to do with this? This is like horrendous. So they put literally toilets and things to throw pennies into. And there was an outhouse. And it was like hilarious. So you had this like little place where you would throw coins to try and get it into these, different toilets. It was like really, it's highly entertaining. So, and when you get it, it's just like, because you're far away, you're up here and that's, down there, and you've got to like throw it a good distance in between railing. Anyway, that's Jerome.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I have to go back and do another little, like I have to go during the day. and yeah, because usually I end up going, to visit Sedona, and it's just like, I think about it on the side, like, hey, where else can I go and spend a few hours? But yeah, I love it there.
So close to Grand Canyon. So close. So close.
Yeah.
I've never been. Sounds cool.
To do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous here. And I have to say, one of the biggest things that I miss about Rockaway is the community and the ocean. But one of the things that makes up for it a little bit is like the red rocks.
Magic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love the red rocks.
Yeah. So I'll definitely be in touch with you, Christine.
Yes, let's do that.
Great.
All right. Well, everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Try not to get too smoky out there.
Yeah.
Yourself. Breathe deep.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe deep in the house.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me to this. It was great. I appreciate it.
Nice to meet you, Janet.
Yeah, you too, Christine.
If I know anybody needing assistance, I will. Do you do rentals as well?
Same here. I do some rentals. Some.
Okay.
It's very hard. It's a hard rental community, but
it is.
In the summer, you find a lot more because a lot of people, seasonal share and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely. I'm here if you need me.
Great.
And thanks, Dina and Galit. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dana and Galit, for inviting me.
Yeah, and we will see you all next month for another episode. And our theme next month is
heat.
Yes.
The heat is on.
July's theme is
going
heat.
into June, July, yeah.
So we'll see you then.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Peace.